Have you heard of the American Gothic soap opera that aired on ABC television network from June 27, 1966 to April the 2nd, 1971? This one-of-a-kind daytime drama featured the wealthy Collins family and was located in Maine and headed by a mysterious vampire named Barnabas Collins. The cast consisted of vampires, witches, warlocks, ghosts, werewolves, zombie, and so many other supernatural, abnormal beings. The setting of this soap opera was an obscure castle surrounded and shrouded in fog and mysterious sounds and waterways. What separated this soap opera from all the others was not only the fact that it was a Gothic soap opera, but it also had melodramatic performances that enthralled the viewer and atmospheric interior designs that were just captivate the viewing audience. In addition to that, there were storylines that were memorable and numerous plot twists and dramatic scenes, and the music scores were just memorable and unusual and a little creepy at times. So, I have given you enough clues and enough time to have an answer, to come up with an answer. So it is, as many of you have guessed, Dark Shadows. This particular soap opera was very popular for its time, and it has developed a cult following, and at the time of its airing, it had a large teenage viewing audience. The paranormal world of ghosts and monsters and werewolves and vampires and hybrids of different kinds have fascinated the viewing audience for a long time, and it has also created a large following in paranormal romances, which is what we are going to talk about today. As you know, Halloween is fast approaching, and for all of you paranormal romance writers out there, this is your time. This is your season of the year. This is when you take advantage of the scary unknown and promote your books and garner a new audience. This is also the time that you should start publishing your short stories, your short paranormals, and getting them ready for Halloween so that you can tap into that particular holiday season. Because as you know, many, many young people love Halloween. They love to dress up and go to masquerade balls and parties. This is their time to just go out and become whoever they want and to have so much fun with their friends. And you, as a paranormal romance writer, can tap into that audience and market yourself during that time period. And today we are going to talk about how to write a paranormal romance, the elements that are involved in creating such a romance, and the fact that you don't, if you choose not to, have to write a long novel. You can write a novella or a short story. You can do a 15-minute read, a 30-minute read, a 2-hour read. But the most important thing is that you take advantage of this particular holiday and that you market yourself and get your work out there. According to paranormal romance writer Susan Crinard, you have chosen a field, paranormal romance, that has endless possibilities. You can write about so many different things in this particular genre. But in having endless choices and opportunities to create unusual stories, you also have a challenge. And that challenge is that you need to write in a fantastical world, in a magical world, in a world that will involve world building. And your hero and heroine are not normal, everyday, average people. They may possess some supernatural power. They may have a level of darkness that lurks within inside of them. They may have so many unusual problems or restraints as characters. And you will have to explain all of this to your reading audience. You will have to explain the rules of your world, the do's and the don'ts of your world, the things that work and the things that don't work in your world. And the world that you create can be a world of the past, or it can be present day, or it can be futuristic. If you use the world of the past, you will look at the time period that this story takes place. And you may want to incorporate real events in the telling of that story. Or you can set it in current day world, and you will use the events, the things that are going on nowadays, the technologies, the problems of this society and this world, and you can incorporate that in your paranormal romance. Or you could be daring and create a futuristic world, a world that doesn't exist. But in doing so, you are going to have to create the origin of that world, how that world functions, what are the weather patterns of that world, how do the people behave, what societal norms exist during this futuristic time, what are the societal problems of this particular time, and then how do your characters fit into this particular time? And who are your characters? Have you created a hybrid? Let's say a vampire / werewolf. Who are these paranormal beings in your world? And do these paranormal beings exist in a world that is totally supernatural and is void of human existence? Or do your paranormal creatures exist in a world that is inhabited by human beings? These are things that you, as an author, are going to have to decide. But in doing so, you are going to craft an interesting, amazing story. You also, as a writer, want to ground your story in reality, which means that your story is going to have identifiable, realistic elements, such as a modern day metropolis city, or perhaps, if it were set in the past, a medieval castle. These background settings will assure your reader that this story is taking place in our current society or in our past society. The more you make the reader believe in your world and in the settings of your world, the more likely they are to believe the fantastical element of your storytelling, because they trust you to tell them the truth, and they will suspend their disbelief. You, as a paranormal romance writer, must love the genre. You must love writing about the supernatural. And when you love writing about it, it will translate into your storytelling, and it will reach the reader. You will also have to do research, whether you are looking at the history of folklore or mythology or fairy tales or legends or new age subjects. You are going to have to design your characters, and you are going to have to design your world, and you are going to have to make it unique to your storytelling and your brand. In writing your paranormal romance, you as an author have to balance the romance with the paranormal element. You have to have a balance so that you don't go too far into the horror aspect of the paranormal and shock your readers who are looking for a central love story. And you don't want to lean too heavily on the romance and ignore that fantastical paranormal element, which is what has drawn your reader to that particular genre. So you need to balance both. What comes first is the love story between the hero and the heroine. What comes second is the paranormal environment and the fantastical things going on in this world that you have created. You also need to have an interesting and unique story to tell, because you want to keep your readers engaged. You want them to continue your story from the first page to the last page. And you, as a seasoned writer, may want to leave a little cliffhanger at the end to allow them or to entice them into buying the next book in your series. And yes, paranormals should have series, in my opinion, because once you get a reader, you want to keep them. You want to keep them coming back to your books and to your brand.